let's call this meeting, the Haysville Planning Commission to order. First item of business is the roll call.
Blood,
Here.
Rinky,
Here.
Wallace, Azir,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
Troop,
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Next item of business is the approval of minutes of February 22nd, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Under new business, we have a review of final plat for Grandin Plaza addition to Haysville. Is anybody here to represent that?
Good evening. Before you is the review of the final plat for Grandin Plaza addition to Haysville. This is located in the northeast of Grandin, east of Plaza Drive. The comments from area utilities are in the staff report before you. Staff is recommending approval of the final plat with all utilized comments.
Any questions or comments? There's no comments or questions. I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the final, or to approve the plat of Grandin Plaza addition as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a couple seconds for approval of the plat as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I abstain.
Thank you.
Under new business, item B, consideration of zone change from rural residential to general commercial.
Thank you. Before you is the consideration of a zone change of property located at 8191 South Meridian Avenue from RR Rural Residential to GC General Commercial and is in our area of influence. I attended the MAPC meeting this afternoon and they recommended to overrule the denial of the zone change and approve the zone change with the protective overlay. Our staff, we are not in favor of this zone change as listed in the memo before you. We do not want a storage or even a storage with a 6-foot fence because this does not block anything. Our residential development is going in that direction. Brad with the Metro Area Planning Commission is present to answer any questions you may have. And unless there are any questions, I do need a motion from the commission for your recommendation.
Any questions for Jonathan?
Also, the homeowner is present as well.
Okay. Do you want to present as well?
I can answer any questions that you might
Okay.
have.
Question? General thoughts?
So it's approved, or not approved or not, the staff? Can you go over that one more time?
Sure, I'll kind of explain the process. So, and just to clarify, I'm with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department, not the Planning Commission. So I'm staff for the Planning Department there. And I did present to the Planning Commission this afternoon, and we did recommend denial. We did present them with a protective overlay if they chose to recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners, which they did at a 5-4 vote. That's kind of where it stands now. Any recommendation that you would make would be to the Board of County Commissioners as well.
Thank you.
And I can answer any other questions as well.
For either of you, the protective overlay that was recommended today, is that identical to what is presented here?
Yes, nothing changed from the protective overlay in the agenda report.
But our staff still recommends denial based on all of this verbiage that you can all see. Any general discussion for, against, neutral? Okay, I'll go
So-
first. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just gonna ask some questions. So
Sure.
you were talking about the expansion of residential in that area. So I know we have a blocked out area where they currently do construction. Is that planned residential?
You talk about like the corners of 79th and Meridian.
So the corner of 79th and Meridian already has residential.
Those would be still
frontage.
commercial. It's the main parts that are residential from our land use map.
So expansion south,
I don't want to speak for you, but I think what Jonathan's trying to say is, for us to grow, we have to grow to the west. And
right,
that means up and down Meridian as much as it does west on Grand.
okay,
So we did a Meridian corridor plan 15 years ago. I don't know, it was a while ago. But we looked at this whole corridor and looked at how we wanted all of it developed, and most of that should be reflected in our land use map.
okay,
So if you look at the hard corner just south of or north of 79th Street, west of Meridian, that's red, identified as commercial, because it was carved out of that original plat.
right,
So you put a, I don't know, a strip center or a quick trip or whatever there.
yep,
But the rest of the area that we're talking about is identified as either residential or mixed use, neighborhood mixed use, which is
Okay.
a combination of the two.
that was all I
Okay. So this is for either of you, actually, or the homeowner, or the applicant. How big is the total property?
20 acres, and
And-
so we're only asking to rezone 5 of those, because we do wanna build a house on 15 acres. We got a, exemption from plating from Haysville because it was 20 acres to build our home. And then we seen the need for RV storage around here as we were camper owners and had no place to store our camper. And Hoffman's is full, and then the one that you guys have here on Broadway, there's only 18 spots, and he's full, and he said that those are every year customers, so he's never gonna have an opening because they are, and so the 2020 census for Haysville said that there was 11,262 people in Haysville and 4,133 homes. And then you guys own the property behind us and wanna put in another 160 homes. So those people are gonna need a place to store their RV or campers, whether it be city code or HOAs or, you know, just cleaning up driveway space. If you have a lot of teenagers driving to high school and you have a lot of cars and you just wanna store your camper. And this is only operational vehicles such as RVs or boats. It's not gonna be vehicle storage, it's not gonna be non-operational. It's only operational vehicles, so it's
But
not
the
a
intent is
junkyard.
not for you to just store your RV, but RVs for other people
Absolutely.
on a site up to 5 acres.
Yes,
So my concern with that is we are actively seeking development in that direction.
yeah,
And my concern is if we allow you to do this and there's a RV lot there, and I'm sure it'll be nice, I'm sure they'll have a fence around it, but I don't know that as a developer, I would wanna back my development up to that. And as a home buyer, I don't know that I would wanna buy the lot that has that overlooking my backyard. So my fear is that if we allow you to do this, and even if it's only 5 acres, it's possible you come to us in the future and ask for a bigger part of your property to be RV storage, which I would have a problem with. But even the 5 acres as a start, I think my concern is that it would not be beneficial or lead to additional development in that area.
I do understand your concerns. I think with all of Haysville area only having a certain amount of lots for their RV and campers, I don't think that's gonna stop somebody from buying that piece of land or developing that piece of land. I think there's a need for it and a demand for it, for all the
I
recreational
agree with
vehicles
you,
that
I just
people
don't think
have.
that this is the right place in Haysville to do it. I think somewhere along Broadway or somewhere in a more industrial corridor would be more appropriate for this land use, especially that specific land use.
Do we have any protections against making sure that it doesn't become a blight, that the vehicles are all in working order, even if this was approved? Is there
I
any
think that's what the
legislation?
protective overlay itself is attempting to do.
I can answer
Yeah.
that question a little bit further as well. So there are several aspects to the zoning code that this would fall under. Specifically, the screening that you mentioned earlier. Whenever a commercial property abuts or is across the street or alley from residential zoning districts, it does require screening. And because this property does abut residential zoning on all sides, the applicant would be required to provide a solid screening fence of at least 6 feet in height there. So that would be something that would be completely surrounding the space.
I know 6 feet isn't much, I'm slightly over that, and I've stood next to a camper. And I know they're considerably larger than that, so that I don't think that would really shield the public from much anything.
Any more questions, discussion? Anybody have a motion?
I would move to deny the zone change for that property in accordance with staff recommendation.
I'd second that.
Have a motion and second to recommend denial. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Brad, where does this go from here? Our recommendation, does it go to the Citizen Advisory Board too?
Sure.
Or does it go just directly to the Board of County Commissioners?
So this recommendation really only goes to the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay.
We will meet on April 2nd at Citizens Advisory Board number 2. And they will also have a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. So there will be 3 total. Usually there's just 2 with the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the CAB. But because it's in this area of influence and y'all chose to hear it, we'll now have 3 recommendations to the board.
And when is the Board of County Commissioners meeting?
That I'd have to get back to you on.
I believe it's Wednesday,
Roughly-
May 8th,
yeah,
but I
roughly,
don't remember the time.
Roughly a month after Planning Commission, but yeah, it might be 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
I'd have to get back to you.
No,
I don't
no.
have it locked
Yeah,
up
you're good.
here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Under old business, we have zoning code amendment, chapter 16.
Staff is requesting that this item be tabled to the April 11th meeting for additional changes to be added. I would-
Continue to be tabled?
Hopefully not anymore.
No,
but-
continuation
But
from.
continuation from the
Yeah.
previous tabling, yes, sorry,
Okay.
correct. And I would need a
Do
motion.
you need us to vote on that?
Please.
I'll move that we continue to table it to the 11th.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second to continue to table this item until April 11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No correspondence,
None,
no off agenda.
none.
Item 8.
I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will second that.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, everybody.